I like being me. I get away with so much stuff. You guys are so patient. I love that. I got a different iPad and it really likes not cooperating with me. There we go. Hello. Hallelujah. I have joy. My iPad is open. All right. Today is the third Sunday of Advent. We're talking about joy. And, okay, how many of you would feel like your joy quotient today or currently is 1 to 5, meaning 1 is like not at all and 5 is like middle of the road? How many are 1 to 5? You could be honest. Any 1 to 5ers? Okay. There's a few of you. I love your honesty. I'm going to pray for you, lay hands on you, shove eggnog in your face. We're going to make it all better. Who are the 6 to 10 people? You're a 6 to 10. It's Christmas. The decorations are up. You don't care that there's cranky people in the shopping malls. You are just all about this thing. Awesome. Joy is one of those things. Now, similar to peace and hope, like we've done in the last couple Sundays, there's a sense at which these things are immediate and instantaneous. And that's possible, right? There's like moments where we just experience more peace. But when I'm talking about these things over Advent, I'm talking more about the consistent experience of joy, the consistent experience of peace, the consistent experience of hope. So there's an irony at play at Christmas time, especially with these ideas of hope or peace or joy. And the irony is that the pace of Christmas often works against the things we most desire to experience. Would you agree? Now, I'm going to be more controversial since I'm on a roll. And nobody's throwing anything yet, so I'm just going to go as far as I can. I'll know I've gone too far when somebody throws something. Dania, you're not allowed to throw anything. There's so much to do at Christmas time. And like, for the record, most of it is awesome. Christmas concerts, benefit things. We got Trendsetters this evening. Come out to Trendsetters. It's going to be a fantastic meal. There are so many wonderful things happening at Christmas time. But you 6 to 10 people, I love you. What happens on December 27th? I'm done. The presents are opened. I'm sleeping for 3 days. Nobody touched me. Nobody talked to me. Right? Okay, not everybody does that. But isn't that kind of a reality? When things are so hectic, then all of a sudden when it's done, it's just and maybe you feel lonely, or maybe you feel sad, or maybe it's like, oh, it's another 362 days till the next Christmas. What am I going to do? That's the irony of Christmas, is that there's so many great things that what we're truly after is sometimes unattainable. Like those of you who drive a lot, who live out, in the country or whatever, you put on like 5 times the amount of mileage in December, right? For all the different things that are going on. And so the fuel bill goes up and you're buying presents and you got to let the car warm up for 15, 20 minutes. Not so much this morning, but on a normal winter day. And all of a sudden, you're like, where did my peace go? I got to run from here, and then, that one overlaps that one, but if I leave early here, then I can go there, and then, I got to pick up eggs on the way home too, and I forgot the eggs, and now we got to go back into town tomorrow. And all of a sudden, where's the peace? Where's the joy? Where's the sense of hope? Everything's kind of wrapped up into all these little things that we have to do. Can I just say you don't have to do all of it? Just be free. Don't feel like you have to be at everything. Now support the grandkids when they've got an elementary concert and whatever, and do your thing. But listen, if we want to live a life where these things are a consistent reality, joy, peace, hope, love, we have to understand that we're only capable of receiving when we're not so busy. Our world is so busy. So busy. I blame the automobile. Before the automobile, everything was slow. Now everything is just really fast. That sometimes we get through Christmas and we're like, Well, just another Christmas. Anybody ever felt like that? Like it happened so fast that you couldn't just quite get into that Christmas groove. It's the irony of this time of year. So many good things happening that we can miss the things that God has for us. So we're going to talk a little bit about the journey of the wise men today and how that is instructive in some way to receive joy at Christmas time. So we're going to read Matthew chapter 2, verse 1 to 11. Had some good questions about the wise men this morning, so here's their story. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews?" So they knew that there was a coming king from those prophecies. "We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him." When King Herod heard this, he was disturbed, and all Jerusalem with him. Because when three strangers show up, people kind of take notice. When he had called together all the people's chief priests and teachers of the law, he asked them where the Messiah was to be born. "In Bethlehem in Judea," they replied, "for this is what the prophet has written. But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, for out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod called the Magi secretly and found out from them the exact time the star had appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search carefully for the child. As soon as you find him, report to me so that I too may go and worship him." After they had heard the king, they went on their way, and the star they had seen when it rose went ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed. On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Cool story, hey? A moving star. Stars just don't appear out of nowhere. So the star appeared, and the wise men followed this star. So obviously it was moving. It's not just like, okay, well, if you around here, like if you see the constellation and it's up here and it's November, then that's east and whatever. It's more than just a directional thing, right? Otherwise, they could have just followed any star and said, well, we're just supposed to travel west and find a Messiah. No, they followed the star, and the star stopped where Jesus was. So just, again, this is a supernatural deal. God does not announce the birth of his son in ordinary ways. He does it in supernatural ways. A heavenly choir announcing it to shepherds. An angel visits Mary. An angel visits Joseph. So why not a supernatural star? That's just my thinking. Let's talk about the art of slowing down. Oh, friends, this is so hard. So hard to slow down. And I get it, right? When there's events to go to, when there's work to be done, and when you have children in the mix, and there's all sorts of extra activities, like I get it, things are busy. Busy is not the same thing as hectic or frantic. Busy is not necessarily bad, but feeling hectic and frantic, that's where things go off internally. Does that make sense? Like, for the record, I'm not advocating 10-hour work weeks. I'm not advocating that we stop doing good things. But there is a way in which we can live where there is a non-hurried attitude. How do I know? Was Jesus busy? Yes. We read scriptures like, Jesus went to this village and he was teaching in so-and-so's house, and the entire village brought everyone who was sick to the front door. Tell me that Jesus wasn't busy. He was extremely busy. Was Jesus ever in a hurry? No. So, this idea of being hectic or frantic, or what we call being busy today, is more of a state of heart than it is a state of calendar. So we can do what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to be hermits, but we can do what we're meant to do in a way that reflects the kind of peace and joy and hope we're meant to experience. Meaning, we don't have to feel the anxiousness of being busy. How do you separate the two? Well, I've got one way. There's probably more, but this is one great biblical way to separate this frenetic, frantic, internal restlessness kind of busy and the kind of busy that can be marked by peace. Are you ready? It has to do with Jesus and not us. If your busyness is oriented around yourself, you've lost the point. That may not land super well, and that's okay. We're meant to be productive, to help the world to thrive. This is part of the creation blessing for Adam and Eve. Take care of what I've given you. Make it flourish. Make it grow. Make it thrive. So we're called to participate in that, and that takes hard work, and that takes energy, and that takes sometimes being really busy doing good things. But if you're busy because of guilt, or if you're busy because of self-importance, that's when things start to twist on the inside. I got to do this because everybody's counting on me, or I've got to do this because if I don't, then someone's going to be frustrated or upset, and if I don't follow through on all of these things, then I'm letting everybody down. Who's the center of all of those statements? This guy. We're not here to serve our own reputation. We're not here to serve our own needs alone. By all means, work, buy food, eat your food, be merry. We don't work and give everything away and have nothing, because we wouldn't last very long. But the idea of being busy has at its heart the welfare of the world and the people around us. When our focus shifts, we're less frantic inside. So a great thing to do is to say, especially at Christmas time, Lord, what are the activities you want me to participate in? Very similar to how we meet the needs of people who are lonely or who need an extra encouragement at Christmas time. Same idea. Jesus already knows how much we can handle. He knows what we're meant to participate with. In the same way that not every need is ours to meet, not every activity is ours to own and participate in. Lots of great things that I haven't been at. It's not because I don't care. It's because I have to gauge what's happening internally with what's happening externally. If I do something out of guilt, am I doing it for the right reasons? No. Also don't want to rebel either. I don't want to say, that's not my job, that's somebody else's job. Well, no, that's a poor attitude, right? Somewhere in the middle is this beautiful sweet spot where everything we can do can be characterized by peace and by joy because we're engaged with the activity of God in the world. So you can look at some of these things as just another thing to do, or you can look at it, well, is that my assignment, Lord? Am I supposed to be here? Am I supposed to be there? How do you want me to participate in this Christmas season in a way that is of maximum value for others without costing too much on the inside, so that there's a big crash and burn on December 27th. Because we don't want those. So the journey of the wise men is instructive in some way. We don't know exactly how long it took them to get there. If they were from Babylon, and there's no history documents that say exactly where they were from, so we kind of look at the story and we try and make our best informed guess. So Babylon is one of the most likely options. If they were from Babylon, which at that day was Persia, it would have taken them anywhere from 3 to 16 months to get there, depending on how fast they were going, how long they stayed in certain places. So when they actually got there, this is a little bit of the Christmas story that we know is a little bit different than what it actually is. The wise men didn't see baby Jesus. They probably saw toddler Jesus. Maybe he just learned how to walk, right? So, the idea of a baby Jesus or whatever, that's totally fine. It's just a way that we've envisioned the story. But it probably took them a significant amount of time to get there. I don't know that they were in a rush, and I don't know that they took their sweet time. But I can imagine some of the conversations they had along the way. What do you think he's going to be like as a king? I wonder what kind of a family he's being born into. I imagine they had all sorts of questions and had great conversations along their journey. For us, if it takes longer than 2 hours to get anywhere, we are just restless and frustrated. Man, why does Edmonton have to be so far away? Just move the city and still have cheaper house prices and that kind of thing. Right? We kind of want our cake and eat it too, right? Or the drive from here to Calgary. Oh, there's nothing wrong with Calgary. There's nothing wrong with highways. But when you got to go to Calgary and you live in Vermilion, there's not a whole lot of exciting road from here to Calgary. Maybe some wildlife, maybe some bushes, maybe a snowstorm that you got to, stay alert through. That's exciting in the wrong way. But these wise men, whatever time it took to get there was the time it took to get there. I call it moving at the speed of Jesus. I'm often busy, but I try never to be in a hurry. Sometimes it drives my staff nuts. That's okay. I don't mind if people are nuts. It doesn't bother me at all. I say that in a loving way, of course. Because sometimes God has something for us in the journey, right? It's not always about the destination. It's not always about the arrival point. If the journey is boring, sometimes it's just boring. But man, I'm telling you, we're not going to see things if we're not looking for them. So these wise men, however long it took to get to Jesus, is how long it took. I don't know if they had businesses back where they were from. I don't know if they had family gatherings they needed to be at. Like, I'm sure they had a life. But somehow this event was special enough for them to go, pack the camels, road trip. They're leaving their normal everyday experience because there's something greater happening than what they even understood, even though they understood quite a bit. It tells me that Christmas is a season to be experienced, not a holiday to be celebrated. See the difference? A holiday to be celebrated is just a day that comes and goes. A birthday is a holiday to be celebrated, but we don't take 6 weeks to get ready for well, maybe some of you do. Maybe some of you are thinking about birthday presents 6 weeks ahead of time. But we're not decorating a big tree. We're not planning we're not planning birthday concerts. We don't do that kind of thing because Christmas is actually a season to be experienced and not a holiday to be celebrated. Christmas Day is a holiday, but it's much more than just that day. It was for the wise men. However long they journeyed, that was their Christmas season. How many of you would like 18 months of Christmas? You are wonderful people. You'll drive the people around you nuts. We are not taking down the Christmas tree. We're going to save it. We're going to keep it up until next Christmas, and there's nothing you can do about it. I've never seen anybody actually get away with that, but if you can get away with it, let me know. So the journey of the wise men, it was a long journey. There was anticipation, patience, conversation, contemplation. They had all that time to think about this king that they were going to see, this baby king. Would have loved to hear those conversations. And imagine their joy when they finally arrived. When the star stops, signaling this is the house. Maybe you're like the wise men and you just can't wait for a trip to end. We finally arrived. No more airports. No more Ubers. We're finally at our destination. The joy of the wise men when the stars stopped and they finally arrived to see Jesus. Experiencing joy is worth the journey. Hebrews says Jesus endured the cross because of the joy that was set before him. That's a pretty big contrast. How how amazing would joy have to be that you're willing to suffer and die? We may not be called to suffer in that way, but I will promise you there's a greater joy when we slow down and move at the speed of Jesus. What are you journeying for today? Are there answers that you need for life? Is there a moment in your life you're waiting for? Is there a season you're dying to get out of? Is there a promise of God you're waiting to see fulfilled? Is there something you've been praying for years, hoping that God hears you? Is there an issue that you need solved in your life because it's causing all sorts of problems and you're not sure what to do? I think the wise man had a really good answer. However long it takes, it's worth it in the end. That goes against our culture. Have what you want and have it now and have it on sale. Right? Amazon Prime Days, then Black Friday, then the Christmas, then the Boxing Day, then the Boxing Week, and then the New Year's, and then the Boxing Day and July sales, right? You guys have all seen this before. Have what you want, have it soon, have it now, and have it cheap. It's just not the Jesus way. Experiencing joy is expensive. It may not cost you money, but it'll cost you time. It'll cost you the patience. It'll cost you the willingness to set aside the need to have things now, to wait for God's perfect timing. And man, that's hard. It's just hard to trust that He's got perfect timing for everything. So we journey. We journey with patience. We journey with joy. We journey through difficult seasons. We journey as we wait for God to fulfill His promises. We journey. We look forward to these wonderful events, and it's a journey together. Getting married, having children, retiring, grandchildren. These are all wonderful things, but it takes time to get there. The journey of growing in our faith. Oh, I wish I were further on than I am in my faith. Becoming more like Jesus. The joy of being part of something bigger than ourselves. I think that was the greatest joy for the wise men. They weren't going to the market to find some good sales in Jerusalem. They were going to see Jesus, something larger than themselves. So as we pray, it's a great moment to reflect on how far you've come in your faith. The joy of knowing that God is with you. To reflect on how God has poured out His goodness in your life. To reflect on the joyful moments of this past year. To reflect on what it means to seek out Jesus like the wise men. Or even to reflect on the power of distraction and the value of slowing down enough to experience joy. And as the two Christmas songs say it very well, joy to the world, the Lord is come. And come and behold Him. Let's behold Him together as we pray and reflect on these things. Lord, thank you so much. Thank you for your goodness. Thank you that joy is available, that you have an abundant storehouse of joy ready to pour it out into our lives. And even though it's easy to be distracted, we know that you have joy for us today. So in the quietness of our own hearts, we just put aside distractions and we say, we want this Christmas season truly to be about you. We want our hearts to be aligned with the reality of your coming, your birth, and the peace and the joy and the hope that it brings. Would you help us to center our thoughts on those things? And when we have to be busy, would you help us to be busy in a way that's not hurried or rushed or hectic? That we would carry your joy with us. That we would engage in this season in a way where our faith grows and where we are able to love and to bless and to care for others. We ask it in your name, Jesus. Amen.